And look who is in studio. The mayor of Memphis, Paul Young, is here. First time we've had you in. I know,
happy man. I've been trying to get here for the longest, man. It took me forever to get here, but hey, I made it.
No, it's great. I'm glad that you are here. You were just down at where? Tom Lee Park?
Just at Tom Lee Park. Yeah, they did a big groundbreaking for the flyover they're getting ready to put down there. Going to be really, really cool.
Gotcha. All right, so this has been 6 months.
Yeah, 6 months, man. I'm in month 6 right now, so it's been a whirlwind, but I'm having a ball.
How is the job different than what you thought it was going to be?
It's what I thought it would be. I mean,
really?
I've been in government for a long time, and I've worked with a couple of mayors, so I know the pace is high. I think the thing that you had to get used to is like tuning out the noise, and you get a lot of criticism, you get a lot of praise. You can't let it get you too high or get you too down. You just have to keep working. And, somebody gave me some advice right before I came, and they said, if you do what's in your heart, you'll sleep well at night. And that's exactly what I do. I do what I believe in my heart, and I can sleep easy at night.
All right, let's start with you.
Yeah.
Grew up here?
Born and raised. Grew up in Oak Haven, graduated from East High School, college at University of Tennessee, Knoxville, grad school at Memphis, so I'm both. I represent both.
All right, so wait. So after you leave East, you go to Knoxville,
yep.
And then you come back home to go to Memphis.
Came back home to go to University of Memphis, and I did engineering at UT. I was actually there with Tony Harris. We graduated from high school and college together, and then
Can you hoop?
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try this weekend. Actually, I used to play, but I was a church league all-star.
I got you.
Not the big teams. So
then you end up back in Memphis, and what?
Back in Memphis, and trying to find myself, and had this spiritual moment when my mom was preaching, and she talked about finding your purpose. And oh man, y'all got the shots out there. There you go. You got the good one. She talked about finding your purpose in life, and I decided I wanted to help clean up neighborhoods in Memphis, and so that's what I've been doing for the past 20 years.
At what age did this happen? Your mom says you need to find your purpose.
This was like 22. I had just graduated, and I had all of my frat brothers had moved to different places in the country, and they were like, dude, why are you in Memphis? And I was like, it's something about the city. I want to be here. And then she just so happened to preach that sermon, and it literally changed my life, because I was like, all right, I've looked around Oak Haven, and I saw how the neighborhood had declined, and I wanted to change it. And so I went and enrolled at University of Memphis in city planning. At that time, my dream job was Robert Lipscomb's job. That's what I would call it back in the day, because all I knew was that he was helping rebuild housing and stuff in the community. And I eventually became the director of housing, which was one of his jobs. And then when I was in that role, that's when I started to see that I might want to go a little bit further.
So what did you find when you first got into it? Like when it's great to say, like, hey, my mom said this, and I want to go, and I want to do something, and I want to make Memphis a better place. But at 22 years old, you have no idea how to do that.
You
have
no idea
it's
how to do it.
It's a cool story.
But I mean, you just learn. You enroll in school, and then you start learning more about housing, about community development, transportation, and how all these pieces connect. And you start working in the communities, and eventually you build up a skill set before you even know it. Mm-hmm. And you start getting in these rooms and hearing things, and you learn from different people. And that's what happened to me. And I feel like I learned quick and absorbed it all, and then just started, following my dreams.
When did you first start thinking, I would like to be the mayor of Memphis?
It was probably 2019, 20-ish.
Oh, not that long ago.
Oh, no, definitely not that long ago. Yeah, I mean, I thought that maybe some point in the future it might happen. But around that time is when I started thinking, like, maybe it's now. Maybe I'm ready now. And then right before I decided to run, probably a year before, I had a conversation with my dad, and he really encouraged me to just go for it, because, we were watching COVID and people were dying. And I was like, man, life is short, and will I really be better in 8 years than I am right now? And so.
What do you think you weren't ready for?
Man, I think I was ready for all of it.
You do?
I do. I really do.
There was nothing about the job that when you walked into it, you're like, man, I didn't know I was going to do this.
No, none of it. None of it. I mean, the campaign was different. I mean, that was far harder than the job, because the campaign for me, I was not an elected official. Nobody knew who I was except for people like in the circles. But I knew we had a message, and I knew I was going to outwork everybody. And so that's exactly what we did.
Versus what you ran on and what you feel like you've been able to get done in the first 6 months.
I mean, I think the hardest thing is crime, because certainly that's top of mind for everybody. And, you know, all the plans and all those things, when an incident takes place, it's like it's deflating. It's frustrating because you want to figure out what could I have done to stop this from happening. But what I've learned is that you got to keep your foot on the gas. You can't let that derail you and stop you from where you're trying to go. And I can feel the momentum and the energy. You know, we had a big announcement yesterday, project we've been working on for a while with the Musk project.
Okay, so hold on. Yeah. We'll get back to crime, the sad stuff. Let's get to the Elon thing. You got to explain to me, like, talk to me and Roser like we're 8 years old.
Yeah.
What is the Elon Musk story? And explain to me why that's a big deal, what it is, and kind of how it affects Memphis.
Yeah, so, I mean, details are being ironed out, so I don't want to say too much.
Did you meet with him?
I didn't meet with him,
okay,
no. But I know others that have had conversations with him.
Because then I would have had to ask you a million questions about him.
No, I haven't met him. I've met people on his team.
Yeah.
And what I will say is that they were really serious about being able to get this project executed. I think it was between us and 7 other cities, and they were kind of running us all parallel. And then we just kind of took off because we were able to move things relative to getting permitting and all those things done. And what it is it's essentially the brain for all of the things he's trying to do around AI and artificial intelligence. And, you know, there's this race in the United States to figure out who's going to be first. Is it going to be ChatGPT and what they're doing, or is it going to be XAI? And I think his goal is to make sure that it's XAI. And so he wanted to make a big investment. And, you know, we're proud that it's right here in Memphis. And I think the thing that set us apart is the fact that we had a building that was pretty much ready for them to go in and start working.
That Electrolux building,
exactly,
right? I did read that.
Yeah. So that building helped to give us a leg up. And, you know, we went to work, the Chamber, MLGW, other groups, everybody worked hard to make it happen. And so
are they making promises on the front end? Are they saying, like, hey, if you let us build this here, here's why this is good for you, besides the headline of Elon Musk has the business there, right?
Yeah, I mean, I won't say they made promises, but, I mean, they understand that we want them to be a partner and a good corporate citizen, and they were receptive to it. So no promises, but we are optimistic that...
In terms of employment even? Did they say, like, hey, we're going to employ...
They're still filling out their application for the pilot. That's where they're finally going to tell us exactly how many jobs there will be. I've heard a range from, you know, 100 or so, somewhere in that range. But regardless of the employment, for me, it's about the story of Memphis being the hub of innovation. We talk about AutoZone, we talk about the music, soul music, hip hop music, all the things that has been created here. And so for us, it's part of the narrative that we're the hub of the world's largest, strongest supercomputer. And if you want to be an innovator, Memphis is a place for you to come.
Right. And then all of a sudden now you're recruiting engineers, et cetera, from around that are excited about being here.
We use this as a catalyst. And so, you know, as we talk about some of the challenges like crime, we need these kinds of opportunities to offset that.
Like good things happening.
Yeah,
some good news.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
All right. Go with this championship we're going to get next year.
Man, what?
Yeah.
So you are a huge sports fan, right? Like you've always been a big sport. Huh?
I'm a big Grizz fan for sure.
You got opinions?
I don't know if I can get.
Oh, because you're the mayor.
I leave that to you.
Now, I wish I would have gotten Paul Young, the city planner. Yeah. He'd have been popping off, huh?
Nah, but I think we're poised.
You ever call into our shows and our fake names? Complain about a coach?
I might in the future. I put a little voiceover thing on when I call them. No, I love the Grizz, man. I think we needed to go through this past year that we had in order just as a part of our story.
Yeah.
So we got a redemption story coming next year.
When you were one that, like, if I've got the story right, you're a lifelong Memphian, and so I remember when we didn't have the Grizz, and then when the Grizzlies did come along,
right.
You've been on it since the beginning, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like you've been a fan since they first came.
Most definitely. I mean, I've become more diehard probably over the past. Since the Core 4 era. I mean, you know, that's when everybody we were bought in at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, I was always a fan, but at that point I was like, listening to your show, listening to everybody talking about, giving the updates and, the sports analysis. I just really got into it around that time period.
And so now how many games did you say you get to go to now?
I go to quite a few.
You do?
I go to quite a few. I mean, we're season ticket holders for the past 2 or 3 years. And certainly now that I'm mayor, I get an opportunity to come. And so we come to as many as we can.
So all the stuff that was going on with the forum and the buildings and all of the big sports stuff, that kind of I think that was Strickland, right? Like most of it had to take place right before you took over, right?
Yeah, it started under Strickland, and the state awarded all the money. And then at the end of the year, after I won, which was October 5th, Strickland kind of brought me in on a lot of the conversations. And I was actually in the conversations anyway because I was the Downtown Memphis Commission president. Right. So I was very familiar with it, but I didn't know the depths of it until then.
So where are we at on all of that, right?
We're cooking. We're working.
You can't say. I mean, I know there's details that all still have to be worked out.
Hard. But we have a lot of conversations, and I'm optimistic.
But the good thing is you're a huge Grizzlies fan.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good for every sports fan that's out there because I've got to imagine you are on the side of sometimes the politics and the sports teams can be on opposite sides of what they want. But I feel as if you are one that is very into having the Grizzlies survive and thrive in Memphis and making this a great pro sports town.
Definitely. And I will say, even just as a Memphian, I mean, the Grizzlies are a great thing for our city. I mean, it matters for us to have an NBA team. I've heard stories of how FedEx or other big companies would bring in their recruits, and there were recruits that would leave and say, I don't want to come here because there's not enough for us to do. Right. But now when they bring them and they can take them to see Ja Morant, one of the best players in the world, 40 nights a year, that makes a difference for economic development and job recruitment. And so it matters more than just the nicety of having a team. It's part of building a strong economy.
Are your kids into it?
Oh man, yeah.
Oh,
all about it. My son, he just started playing a little bit, so he loves all the players. My daughter's a super fan because they sit back and watch the games with me and listen to me yell and scream at the TV and jump it up and down. So they've been seeing it since they were, absolutely.
They love the team. All right, so I can only imagine. Let's get back to the crime thing, right?
Back to crime.
Look, I am not, anybody that knows me and knows me for many years, not a big politics guy because I hate what it does to people, right? That now, even if we disagree about the way things should be or the way things are going to be or how we get there, even if we disagree on that thing, I'm still able to like other people, right?
Exactly.
So now I feel like
that's just human.
And there's so much everybody's got to hate each other over something, right? You even saw, I was reading the comments below the Elon Musk thing yesterday, and I'm holy mackerel.
I saw that.
I mean, it's crazy.
It is crazy,
right?
Huh?
It's I don't care. Here's what I know, right? I want something that's good for this city. Here's why I can understand why it's good for this city. Whatever that guy believes, whatever he believes, right? That being said, I can only imagine everywhere you go, all anybody wants to talk about is the crime problem in Memphis, and people want to feel safe, right? So the question is, how do we get there? And this is something that was big. A lot of people voted for you because they thought, hey, this is going to be safer. And I know you've got to be so dejected every night when you're at home and you turn on the news and you're like, Jesus, you know what I mean? It's like one step forward, 3 steps backwards every time there's a bad story or there's some kind of crime that takes place. How do we get there to the point where people are feeling safer?
I mean, certainly it's not happening fast enough for anybody, but overall, crime is down from where we were last year. And so I look at that as a positive, that it's trending in the right direction. It's just not happening quick enough. How we get there is a multi-pronged approach. I always talk about the fact that we have to have a holistic approach to public safety. One, we just got to lock folks up. People that are out here terrorizing our neighborhoods and streets, all of our strategies from our police department perspective, and I can go deeper, but I won't start reeling off all the things, but our strategies are intended to make sure that we are targeting the individuals that are wreaking the most havoc and arresting them and getting them off the streets. The other part of the strategy is that intervention and prevention, the investment in these programs where if you see a young person that's getting suspended from school, that's been engaged in bad activity, that got arrested once or twice. Like, we need to be intervening. We need to take that person. If it's Chris, we need Chris engaged in this program over here so that we can change their mindset and get them on a different path. And so we're investing in programs that are doing that. And then it's the prevention where we're investing in programs at our parks and things that get young people something to do. Because what I've heard from young people, this is not me just thinking of things, these are things that they are telling me, is that they need some other activities to do. They break in cars and ride around and smoke weed because it's fun to them. I mean, that's what they told me explicitly. We just do it because it's fun and we don't have anything else to do. If we had something else to do, we would do it. And so we're trying to work it from all of those different angles.
So
and
again,
it's not a quick fix.
Explain it to me and Rose are like we're 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
When we read these stories and it's like this guy committed a crime and he had been charged with this and this and this, is like, what the hell is going on? Why are these why this guy obviously has already committed crimes and how is he able to do this again? And so, explain it to me, like how we fix that problem. What has to happen? Because it feels like everybody then starts bitching about the DA and everything else, and it's like, step one is obviously these guys that are violent criminals not having them be available to commit more violent crimes against people.
Right. Well, step one from my seat is to make sure that they're getting arrested. Our officers are doing that. And I think the frustration from the public is that it feels like the individuals that are doing the most harm have been arrested and then they're let out with a slap on the wrist and then they go out and do another vile thing. Mm-hmm. And I think the way that we fix it is that we get the court system to move quicker. There's a lot of rationales as to why they don't hold people, the constitutionality of whether someone can be held in jail without being proven guilty, because these are mostly what they call pre-adjudication, meaning they hadn't went to court yet. But the problem is that it's taken 5-6 years to get to a court case. And so we have to get the court system moving quicker.
How do we do that?
We need help from the state. We need help from the judges. And I don't know the full answer. I want the criminal justice experts to help us get the system moving. And so some of the things in dialogues you're hearing, I've been reaching out to judges. I've had meetings with them. I meet with the DA every week. In fact, I have a conversation with him today. And so all my efforts are intended to make sure I'm helping to be the catalyst, even though it's not directly under my purview, because the impact is felt by the everyday citizens.
Right. When you sit back at, like on a day like today, right? And then people are asking, like, what is going on? Why are things going to get better?
It's going to get better because we're not giving up, and we're already trending in the direction that we need to go. And nothing changes overnight. I've been in office since January, and I know I have to take the heat because I'm mayor, but we're just now getting to my first budget. The budget that we have been operating under is not one that we put together. It's one that we inherited and we started operating from. And so, we're going to keep doubling down on our investments. We're going to keep working with these young people, and we're going to turn the tide. And the other thing is we're going to get the ones that are doing the most crime and the most bad, we're going to get them off the streets. And our team is working hard, and you'll see some announcements over the coming days and weeks on how we're doing it.
All right. So we talked about, like, we don't always agree on everything, but maybe we can come to a common place. I read somewhere that you are going to raise taxes.
Oh, man.
I do not want to pay more taxes.
I don't either. We agree.
So how can we
we already agree.
Rosa and I don't want to pay more taxes, but
we have wondered why every politician ever does not just say their campaign is, I'm lowering your taxes. It seems just easy. It just seems
easy. I wish I could say that.
I know. So we've got here. This is going to be problem solving 101.
All right, let's do it.
We don't want to pay more taxes. You want us to pay more taxes. Let's find a middle ground here.
All right, I don't know. I don't want to pay more taxes. I don't want you to have to pay more taxes, but I also want you to get more from your city. I want different results than what we have right now. I want our community to be cleaner. I want people to have transit. And
it costs money.
And it costs money. And just quickly, I'll try and give you a couple of reasons why I feel like it's necessary. One, we haven't raised taxes since 2012. If you think of anything you've bought since 2012, it costs more. And if we keep our budget the same and things that we buy cost more, that means the services that you get as a resident are lower. We're delivering less value. Number two,
hold on now. Yeah. So are you following up to make sure my service is better? Are you making sure that, like, okay, look, we're telling people if you pay more, MLGW is going to be better. Trash is going to be better. Yeah. This is going to be better. And then
That's on me. That's on me. And I mean, we have to get the tax increase.
Right.
And I'm held accountable for making sure that the things that I'm promising are going to happen as a result of the increase actually happen.
Right.
So that's part of my accountability.
Because that's where people's faith fails, right? It's like, oh, yeah, they're going to charge me more money and nothing's going to change.
I know people don't trust politicians, and I know they don't trust government, so I get it. Number two, though, and this is a really important one, is we have what we call a fund balance. And so that's like your reserve money, your savings account for the city. And there are thresholds under what you should have in that account. We are supposed to have at least 10% of our budget, which is $80 million, in our reserve account. When we budgeted for the year that we're in right now, we had a budget that had to pull $12 million from that account, which means we already had more expenses than we had revenue by $12 million.
Sounds like America.
So we were pulling from that reserve.
Right.
And then we found out we had some additional expenses that weren't included, $10 million. Had to pull that from the reserve. So $22 million that we had to pull from reserves. When we did our budget this year, we found that we were about $70 million over. I asked everybody to cut. We got it down to 30, and then they hit us with some additional expenses, and we were at $53 million hole. We would have to pull from that account. We currently have $100 million in that account. If we pull 53, we're below that $80 million threshold, which means that our credit ratings go down and we pay more for everything that we buy. And so that's a very, very critical reason. And then the last thing is that I can't ask the public to pay more in taxes. I don't want you to just cover a $53 million hole to keep us where we are. I want to add value. So we're proposing to have $8 million go towards cleaning up blight. That means on 30 major corridors within the city, everywhere you're going to see people picking up trash, cutting grass on a weekly basis. Because I feel like our community does not match aesthetically what our city really deserves. And so we have to clean up. And if people see things that look like no one cares in their community, people act like it.
That's something I think everybody can agree on, right? Like they always say, right? It's like somebody with a messy house, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, everything is
it's in disarray.
Because
if it looks like it's in disarray, people behave as such. And so we want to try to have an impact there. We want to make some deep investments in our kids, about $7 million into our kids, and then $5 million into MATA. And so those are, and then another $2.5 million on cameras, and these aren't just like the blue light cameras. These are cameras that will be high definition, that will go in ultimately 550 intersections throughout the city. And these high definition cameras are not going to be used just for facial recognition. We're using it for object recognition. So if you went and committed a crime in a red Mazda with no license plate with a ding on the door, we're going to see every time that car passes through an intersection, and we're going to be able to figure out where you are. And so we're building a camera mesh network that's going to be state-of-the-art, that's going to be a game changer for fighting crime in our city.
Well, because a lot of people, isn't this what Detroit did downtown?
Detroit did it downtown.
Right, they did it in their downtown,
Absolutely.
And it like cleaned up.
Absolutely.
Because it was like there's cameras everywhere.
Exactly. And we have to remember, as bad as things feel sometimes, it's really 20% of the people committing 80% of the crime.
Right.
So if we
the good outweighs the bad.
Absolutely.
By
most people are doing
margin.
good. And if we can get the bad guys off the streets quicker, then our community is going to be safer. And so this camera mesh network is an important part of our crime fighting strategy.
These all seem like reasonable reasons as to why we would have to pay a little bit more, Rose, or so far. He's winning me over a little bit on this, okay?
Yeah.
You didn't, throughout the entire monologue,
Yeah.
there was not one word about friggin' potholes.
I'm a pretty reasonable guy.
Potholes, bro.
Yeah, I know.
If you want to charge me any amount,
the
so
potholes.
that I don't feel in danger from my car falling in a pothole, my tire blew out on 240. On 240.
Yeah, I remember Mayor Strickland told me that was the number one thing that he would hear at community meetings.
Dude,
more than anything is potholes.
I told you there's a guy. I went to a small college, but I remember there was a guy. I've told this before. This guy named Wes Howell lived down the hall from me in my dorm, and he was going to run for student government president, right? And so he's going to run for student government president. We're like, what in the world? Like, why? And he's like, this is what my passion. This is what I want to do, whatever. Yeah. And so then they had like all the kids, they get up in chapel and they had to say, if I'm president, then this is what's going to happen at this school. And if I'm president, and he went up there and he said, look, we go to a school in the South. And we have Nestea in our cafeteria. And Nestea is nasty. And if I am elected president, we will have sweet tea, real Southern sweet tea in the cafeteria. Thank you. And he sat down. He won he destroyed everybody.
That's pretty compelling right there.
Because it was very simple. Hey, I don't believe any of these other people. But this guy says, and true to his word, the next week we had sweet tea in the cafeteria,
That's
and
crazy.
He's probably the most popular president ever. I think you could really just say, I will get rid of the potholes, and you would get...
I want to make sure I can deliver on that before I say it. But certainly our team worked hard on potholes. I mean, we've done over probably about 40,000 already this year, just filling potholes.
It's something you obviously have had to, become familiar with?
Yeah.
What the hell is it? Why do we have...
It's something about and I don't know the answer fully,
Right.
but I know that when it gets cold and after a cold snap, when the ground freezes and it thaws out, it breaks up the asphalt. And that's when that's why after those snowstorms and all, after we thaw out, you see a whole lot of potholes. And it takes us a few weeks to recover from that.
Can we ever not have to boil water again?
He's a great mayor.
I love it.
You have walked into the den of idiots.
No, you absolutely have. I grew up here my entire life. I lived here my entire life. It has only been the last 2 years that we've had to boil water. It freezes outside. Why am I boiling water?
So what I will say to that is, I mean, I've heard a lot of people say that to me, and I've reminded them that the infrastructure is 30 years older than you remember. So it's the same infrastructure that we had when we were kids that's serving us right now, and it's beginning to fail.
And this is what our tax increase is going to do, is going to help our infrastructure.
It's going to help our
if
infrastructure.
If we pay more taxes, will we still have to boil water?
Well,
right.
So our tax increase is not going
anything.
towards the water infrastructure. That's something through MLGW, and so their fees and costs address that. But having a project like Elon Musk's project is going to pay significantly more taxes. It's going to pay significantly more to water fees and things like that to MLGW. So it will be a good thing for the community in terms of adding more money so we can fix some of those problems.
I feel like he didn't answer your question.
I just want to
He
not
just
have to
doesn't
boil
wanna
water.
He just wants to
I did
boil
answer.
water.
The tax increase does not go towards the water
You're
infrastructure.
still gonna have to boil water, bro. Hey,
So
hey,
Elon Musk is going to make it to where. So Elon Musk is going to make it to where we don't have to boil water. What is that going to do for jobs, though? The Elon Musk thing.
It's still to be determined how many jobs will actually come from it. So I don't know.
You dumbass.
I know I'm not getting hired. I am not working for Elon Musk. I would not want to work for Elon Musk.
But this is what I hope happens is that as Memphis is on the map for being a hub of innovation, a place where we have the world's largest, strongest supercomputer, that we're going to get more tech companies coming here. There's a stat that I used to always say that we have more black and female tech talent in Memphis per capita than any city in the country. And so this gives us an even greater opportunity to capitalize on it. So it's more about the narrative and more about what can come as a result of it being here than it is about the jobs that will happen right there at that facility.
It's very similar to what has happened with the Grizzlies, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like, okay, yes, there are an amount of people that are
builds upon the
employed
narrative.
by it being here,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
how many people then look at a job in Memphis and go, oh, that's the place where John Morant
That's right.
plays, that's the place where, right? Like
That's
they have
right.
an awareness of the city and it becomes a thing.
That's right. I mean, somebody was telling me they were in another country and they sat at a bar and they said they travel all the time. And usually when they say they're from Memphis, somebody asked about Elvis, and he said he sat down and they asked, "Oh, you're in the place with John Morant."
Yep.
And that's a game changer for our city.
This is when I knew it was crazy. I didn't even tell you guys this. I went and stayed. Me and my wife went to Phoenix, Scottsdale last week, and I didn't even tell you guys this. Walked out to the pool the first day, and a guy had on a Jaren Jackson shirt jersey.
Wow.
Yes.
Was he from
Jaren
Memphis?
Jackson Jr.? I don't know. I didn't talk to him.
Yeah.
But my buddy
That's
was
great.
like, look,
That's
this
great.
dude's got a Jaren jersey on. I was like, what?
Shout out to the
I
brand.
know.
The
In
brand is
Phoenix,
strong,
Arizona,
baby.
no less.
The
He
brand
might
is
have been
strong.
from here. I don't know. I didn't recognize the guy.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
Shout out to Jaren.
the point is, like, that once the team was here, all of a sudden, when you go other places,
Yeah, it's marketing,
people
it's branding for our
associate
city.
Memphis with
Yeah,
that.
and
Yeah.
this place is not like I'm gonna this place does not employ like as many people as St. Jude or FedEx.
That's right.
It's
Right.
not close to the size of that.
But it has
And
a massive impact.
And it is, and it's a
Yeah.
lot of people that do work here. They are not from Memphis.
Right.
There are tons of people in this building that are not. I would say the majority of people are not from Memphis. They move here from out of
And that's
town.
a great
right.
thing.
And
We're
those are
bringing people
yeah.
into the community. So I
bring
love
people-
it.
Well, and that was the reason I was so warm about you winning, is because I relate to a guy that you could have moved away.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Could have,
I
but-
felt the same. Like
Yeah.
I've been here since since the year 2000, right? So this is 24 years now. And
Did you go to high school here?
I did not.
Okay.
I went to college down the road, and then I moved. This was the closest big city.
Nice.
It
Your
was the
parents
clo-
went to college here, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
But my mom went to Rhodes. It was called Southwestern,
Yeah.
and my dad went to Memphis. And so my family was always from West Tennessee. And then when I got out of college, two college buddies that were actually from Memphis I did not want to go back home. I was from St. Louis. I didn't want to go back home. And so we just we rented a house here off of Perkins, actually. And I got a job at the local sports radio station in 2000, right? And then, but I love the people.
Man,
I
the people of Memphis,
it's the
man.
people, and
the
that's
people,
what
the energy, the soul, man. Memphis is an amazing place.
and
man.
it's and I think that yes, people are always going to complain and whatever, but it's like when I see all the bad stories all the time, it's the reason why everybody is so resilient with the bad stories and the perception of Memphis outside of Memphis
Right.
is because of the people.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
true.
Absolutely.
know what I mean?
And we got to get more positive news stories out there because there are great things happening. People just don't know about it. And so we're going to keep telling that story and keep making some good things happen in our community.
What do you do in your downtime?
Watch Grizzlies games. Or,
What else?
Wait, what about right now? 'Cause
Will
there's
you
no
watch the
Grizzly games.
will you watch the finals tonight, or are you
Oh,
just?
yeah, definitely.
Okay, so you're not
My son
just-
is a Tatum fan. He loves Jason Tatum.
Oh no! Let's go!
See, I wish I was here yesterday,
He's wearing
Rover.
a Tatum jersey
Had
today.
a whole argument yesterday.
can't
He's
wear
like,
it during
Jason
the year.
Tatum's not cool. He says Jason Tatum's
I
not cool.
literally had a whole thing about how kids don't care about Jason Tatum and he's not cool. And,
He loves him. He loves Tatum. But
man.
Does he have the shoes? Does he have Tatum shoes?
Nah.
Yeah, he ain't rocking
wears
them
Jaws.
Junk buddies.
He
We ain't
wears
wearing
Jaws. Nah,
that.
he didn't have Tatum shoes. But yeah, I watch a lot of basketball, hang out with friends, and kick it with the fam. I like to be at the house, especially now.
and
Like,
what
just
else
be
are
at
you
the house.
watching? If you're not watching basketball,
Man,
what do you watch?
Ozark, or some
Ozark.
show on Netflix, or all of the Power series, everything. 50 Cent Power.
Hey, Fridays, we back.
What? Oh yeah, I know.
We back.
Tariq. I don't know the name of the version, but I just say Tariq.
Can
The
you-
one with Tariq?
Can you turn your phone off?
I can, but I don't. I mean, I keep it on, so I tune.
How often do you get bothered at night with something going on in the city?
Often. Often. I mean, it's not. I won't say bothered. I mean.
Oh, well, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, but
I
I mean,
get
like,
updates.
can you be?
I get updates on things, but I don't always have to respond to. I mean, in terms of like be there. It's sometimes
if you
the
flip
team
on
needs
the game
guidance.
tonight, the Mavericks and the Celtics,
Yeah.
it's at 7:30, right?
Uh-huh.
So we're talking roughly 7:30 to 10.
Yeah.
You'll be committed to watching the game, right?
Yeah,
How
yeah.
many times will your phone go off about something job related?
Probably 3 or 4.
Oh, that's
3 or
not
4. It's not that crazy.
But
I mean,
you-
because we have a great team.
Right.
Now, people on my team are getting calls, and they handle the things that they need to handle until they need.
What time
any
you get
input
up in
from
the
me.
morning?
About 5:45. Get up, do about 2 miles, and then
You go
get
running?
to it. I mean, I run. It's more.
Walk run is crazy. Walk run is wild. Walk run is wild.
It's more walking than running.
No. All right, now we're doing the old test because I
Yeah.
think we're roughly the same age.
Yeah, I'm 44.
All right,
so I'll
yeah,
be
I'm
45 this
45. Are
year.
you Hokas?
Hoka-
On Clouds, New Balance.
Please say no.
What are we running?
Please
in?
say
It's
no.
the On Clouds. Yeah. But my wife bought them. I was like, what are these? What are these?
And you love them.
He's
And they're
old,
amazing.
Dad.
And they're amazing. So
Wait. The real question is, do you wear them out on like in
Oh, no,
public?
no.
Okay, thank you. Okay, there we go. We good.
if I'm wearing tennis shoes, you'll see me
Yeah.
in some J's or something like that. But no.
Only running in the on clouds. We with
Yeah,
it.
you will only see them if you see me out running. Oh, so
You should see Devin's face when you said On Clouds.
I get on.
He's so
I get on there
upset.
about the on clouds all the time.
He said that's the official white guy uniform.
The on
That's
clouds.
what
man.
we got. We
I'm
got to
getting
be James.
indoctrinated.
You got to head over to James Davis and buy some On Clouds
On call. Get you a.
or little Vineyard Vines.
Yeah, get you a quarter zip. Get you ready. Get you
That's
ready
when
to go.
you know he's a dad.
I'm a dad.
dad.
I mean,
Respect
it's
it.
just dad uniform.
That's
That's
dad
all.
uniform.
What you listening to? Because I know you're a big. I saw
I'm
you
a-
at the festival downtown.
I'm a hip hop dude, so I mean now I still listen to old stuff, man. I like Jay-Z, Nas, Eminem.
Oh, you don't
know,
like the
T.I.
mumble rappers, huh?
I mean, some of their songs I like, but
Mayor Paul Young hates mumble.
Were you up on the Kendrick Drake beef?
yeah, definitely.
You're Team Kendrick, aren't you?
I mean, I'm Team Drake.
What?
But Kendrick
He
won.
scheduled 5 concerts.
Revoke his key to the city. Take his key.
Kendrick won.
Wait,
Kendrick
did
won.
you
Kendrick
meet
won.
him? Did you meet him when he
I
was?
did meet him when I was on the campaign trail.
Was he
I mean,
lame?
he's a nice guy. I mean, but
Could
it
you
was
smell
10
the
seconds.
lame on him?
No. He was a cool dude. He was a cool dude. He was a
Who's
cool
the
dude.
coolest person you've met because of by being the mayor?
I met Big Boy at River Beat
That's
Festival.
That's
cool.
elite.
Yeah,
He was
that's
super
cool. That's
yeah,
cool.
he was super cool.
That is cool.
8 Ball and MJG,
Yeah,
which,
legends.
Memphis legends. I met Ja and Jaren and
Right.
the whole team. All of them were cool. So, and you. Yeah.
Stop.
Let's go.
Real politician. Real politician.
Let's
go.
You
Hey,
are that
I want-
guy.
Well, you're out there talking to kids all the time, and also there was that story about how Mayor Paul Young meets with gang leaders,
Yeah,
and we were
yeah.
like, "What?"
Yeah, that was interesting. So I was not telling that story for the media. I was telling the story because I was talking to some people at a workforce conference, and the reason I met with those individuals was because I talked to the mayor of New Orleans, and she said that her city had gone 15 days with no homicides. 15 days. And so she said they did it by policing, but they also met with what they call group involved, which meant essentially gang members, group involved folks, and engaged them. And so I went to them, I got them in the room, and I asked them what would it take to get 7 days of a ceasefire. It wasn't a negotiation. It literally was a question. And they said, well, you got to talk to our ops. And so if they come shooting at us, we're going to shoot at them. That's understandable. Then they said, you got to find things for our young people to do. We break in cars and ride around and smoke weed like I talked about earlier because they don't have anything to do. Then they said, we got to find ways to get money for these young folks because they're hurting, their pockets are hurting. And then they said something that made me feel convicted, like I need to do more. They said, well, you're asking us to tell them to stop shooting and doing the crime, but we think that you need to come and tell them your vision and talk to them yourself because they don't see people that look like you. You're from Oak Haven, and we don't ever see nobody like you in our hoods. And so we need you to come over there and talk to them directly. And that made me feel convicted, like I should be doing more. And I tell that story to people because I want them to feel the same level of conviction because they're not just talking to me, they're talking to all of us because these kids are dealing with circumstances that many of us can't fathom. It's totally different than, you know, going home and opening your garage, going in and scrolling on social media and talking about how crazy these kids are. These kids are out there in it. Nobody's asking them what time you get home and what you want for dinner. They're just on their own. And so we got to engage those young people in a different way. And so I don't regret the conversation, and I want to have more conversations.
Because you're attempting to learn what is going on and how do I stop this.
Exactly. Not just learn, but also influence. How can my presence, how can I use, since I'm in this role as mayor, I want things to happen while I'm in this role that wouldn't happen if I wasn't here. And I feel like me being proactive and going out and talking to these kids, and they see me coming in with J's on, and, you know, being able to match their vernacular. And, you know, when I'm like, don't talk to me like the mayor, talk to me regular. I'm a regular dude. And that resonates with them. And I think that we change Memphis by doing that en masse. Me doing it and others doing it.
I see it all the time with Tony.
Yeah. I mean, he's a prime example of someone, like, getting him out there talking to. It's different than
they
someone
relate
else.
to him.
Yeah.
We used to do this thing with JIF, you know, juvenile intervention and faith-based follow-up, and I would watch those kids listen to him,
right? And
he could say, "You are me."
Yeah, and
the
it
only
makes a
difference, and I could have gone south 100 different times.
And he could hoop, and it changed it for him.
That's right. Or else I would just be dead or in jail.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
it means so much to see somebody that looks like you.
That's right.
Even like when I was in school, when I was in high school, man, that we would see. I always thought the industry we work in right now was all just. But Stephen A. Smith came to my high school.
Yeah.
And I was like,
And you from Memphis, right?
Born and raised, yeah.
Okay.
And he came to high school, and I was like, oh.
He went to Houston.
Went to Houston.
He came
He came to high
That's
school
what's
for
up.
like a little assembly, and I was like, oh, okay, this is possible.
Right.
You know, because you never see nobody that looks like you.
Yeah.
So then now you. Look
It
around.
matters, man, when they can feel that connection to people that come from where they from and that are, you know, similar backgrounds.
That's
so,
right.
you know, we're just going to keep working, man.
What criticism bothers you the most?
Man,
Come on.
I'm trying to think
There's
of
something
one.
that gets under your
We don't
skin.
need the Twitter trolls that have no ammo.
Yeah, I mean, I really still have started to tune them out. I think the thing that annoys me most is when people just don't have real facts. Somebody sent me a message and called me a coward or something crazy like that. And so sometimes those messages, like when you see it, you're like, hold on. Who is dude talking to? And I'm like getting ready to respond, like, no, put the phone down. And then you just go on to something else, and you just move on
You have
past
to
it.
get super thick skin.
Yeah, you definitely have to have thick skin.
But I can't imagine, right? That's something you jump into. Nobody was criticizing you before you get that job, right?
No.
You're never dealing with it.
I mean, you may have somebody say, like, I don't trust government or everybody's stealing money, blah, blah, blah. They say things like that, but you don't really take that serious. But when they say, you, Paul Young, are this and that, like, that makes a difference. And that can get under your skin at times, but I have learned to pay no attention. And now I'm starting to see it even less. Like, I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I just don't.
Why
seek
did you
it out.
want to be in government? You seem like such a normal guy, and yet we do. We all hate politicians.
Why politics?
Yeah, I'm a real normal dude because I want to make a difference. Like, I really, really believe that in my heart, that I am here for a time such as this. And I think that Memphis is getting ready to go through a shift, and we needed the next generation of leadership to step up. And I had been training for it for so many years, and I thought it was time. So
I think this is
Jump in it.
authentic, don't you?
Yeah,
I mean, I know.
it's real,
Look,
yeah.
politicians always make everybody feel good, right?
I got one
But
authentic
like,
question.
I don't.
I mean, I'm not
I
a
know
traditional
you're in
politician.
politics, but
Yeah.
I do feel like you got into it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Man, we're gonna make a difference for Memphis, and then I'm gonna do my 8 years and get out of the way and let the next person do it.
Shout out. I need your Mount Rushmore because you're from Memphis. You went to high school in Memphis.
Yep.
You went to East. I heard that. Tony Harris, all of them. I need your Mount Rushmore of Memphis high school hoopers.
I got to put Tony up there because that's
Okay.
my guy. Snap,
Okay. Shout out Jimmy Snap Hunter.
Snap Hunter.
Shout out Jimmy
was
Snap Hunter,
so
legend.
awesome.
Robert O'Kelly.
Okay.
Yep.
The first year I moved here, it was T-Moy.
Yeah,
T-Head?
see, they were all
T-Head.
younger than me.
T-Head.
So they were younger than me, so I didn't
A
really
little
get
younger,
to see
yeah.
them.
Yeah, T-Head
What's my
was a
man from
legend.
BTW? His name is Terrence too. He went to UT for a minute. Man, he had one of the best jumpers I've seen, though.
The best one I've ever seen here
Yeah.
is Thad.
Oh,
Thad
and
is
Mitchell.
Oh God,
Oh,
when he
yeah.
was at Mitchell,
See, I
it
didn't
was,
see him. I didn't
was
get to see
unlike
him.
any other.
I remember.
It was like any other
Yeah.
person.
I remember
Yeah.
Ernest Shelton at
Yep,
White
yep,
Station.
Ernest
Dave
Shelton was good.
Bradshaw was freaking awesome too.
Dave
at White.
was
They
a
were the
beast,
same
yeah,
team.
he was
Joe
good.
Jackson averaged like 30
Jackson.
something.
Oh, he killed us.
Chris
Trust me, I
Jones,
played against him.
Andre Allen.
Yeah.
I mean, Penny's the best.
I mean,
Penny's the
obviously.
best.
That's
high
what I
school
want
player
because when
ever.
you're in Memphis, you want to like.
I'm sorry I didn't say Penny. Of
Everybody
course,
got
Penny.
everybody got their own Mount Rushmore, so I did.
So, all right, and the last thing, because I know you're a busy guy.
Yep.
You did the whole. I went to Tennessee, but I also went to Memphis.
Were you
Yeah.
a package deal with Tony
yeah,
Harris?
yeah,
Were you a
yeah.
package
No,
deal?
hold on. I went to Tennessee.
That's the politics in me, man.
Yeah, I got you, but you're not getting away with this. Not
Yeah,
on a
yeah.
sports show,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay. Are you go Big Orange?
Yes.
Or go Tigers go?
Yes.
When it comes, like, if we're gonna lock horns at FedEx Forum.
Oh, I'm going for the Memphis. Oh,
Okay.
No question. No question. If we're playing each other, it's going to be Memphis.
Oh.
Yeah, no question.
I was worried.
No,
I
don't
was
worry.
worried.
Don't
When
worry.
he said Tennessee, I was like, I hope you don't have any orange in the closet.
Nah.
You do.
I
No
do.
GB.
Now I do have orange.
Okay.
Now, don't
Yeah,
get
he
it
went to
twisted.
both.
Nah, but
Please tell me you got checkerboard pants.
nah.
But you have
I don't go that far.
hey, but you
Nah,
have
not
a
that.
diploma from both.
I have
So-
a diploma from both. I have 2 from Memphis, actually.
Yeah, I know. So
yeah.
that's totally fair.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
There's a lot of people, everybody around here, it resents the Tennessee football,
Oh,
Memphis
no.
basketball fans.
Yeah, nah,
and then they've
nah.
started to like the Tennessee basketball because they're good.
Because they're great.
But when I
Yeah.
moved here, it was like half the city was like a Tennessee football fan, but a Memphis basketball fan.
That's pretty
Seriously.
much how I have been.
Well,
but
for sure, because Memphis football was.
now Memphis football has come up, so you know
Right.
I'm a Memphis football fan too.
Yeah. All right. Thanks,
All right.
buddy.
Thank y'all, man.
Go-
This was fun.
Go fight for the city.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
He's the mayor of Memphis, Paul Young.
The Chris Vernon Show, presented by Caesars Sportsbook, live weekdays at noon